Hi and welcome to Knit All the Things. My name is Lauryl. I'm also known as West Maven on Instagram, Ravelry in here. If you're new, this is a space where I talk about all the things I'm knitting, all the things I want to knit, all things yarn, just all the things. And if you're returning, welcome back, Knitting Bestie. I can't wait to catch up with you. In this week's episode, we are going to be talking about firsts. I am publishing my first ever pattern, the Cozy Slouchy socks. I'm gonna share a little bit of the behind the scenes and my thought process with that, as well as some of the samples that I made. I am also wearing my first ever knit sweater, so I'm gonna share a little bit about that with you, as well as talk about some of my knitting works in progress. So grab your knitting, get cozy, and let's go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I am wearing today. I am wearing the Novice Sweater. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. I knit it using, at the time at least, the recommended yarn, which was Knitting for Olive in their merino and their soft silk mohair. So it was one strand of the merino. I used the color Bordeaux, and 2 strands of the soft silk mohair, also in Bordeaux, I believe. So I had not knit a sweater for myself before this one. I may have, and I'm not sure on the timeline. I think I might have knit something for my son before I knit this sweater for myself, kind of as a like proof of concept to make sure that I could actually knit a sweater, I guess. And then I knit this one. So I made many mistakes, and there's some things that I would definitely love to change about it, but I have hesitated to do that because it is my first sweater. If I were to change all the things I want to change, then it wouldn't kind of have that charm of being like not perfect, if you will. But let's talk about it a little bit. It's a top-down sweater. It's knit, it's a round yoke sweater. It has a double folded neckband, and it is very, very simple. Part of, and I've talked about this sweater a little bit in the past, so I'm not gonna dwell on it too long today, but I didn't realize I was twisting my stitches the way that I used to knit. And sometimes I will still use this if I'm making a cardigan. It doesn't matter as much, but in the round, when I would knit, I would twist my stitches because instead of on my, I think what it was. So in the round, I was twisting my stitches because I was knitting through the back loop, I believe. I think at the time I was knitting through the back loop because if I was knitting and purling, I would twist my purls, and so when I would knit flat, I would be untwisting them. But since I was just knitting it around, I was just continually, like, it was just twisted. So they're all twisted stitches, but you know, it kind of adds a little bit of texture to it, I guess. I do think part of the reason now that I actually just love the plain knit stitch as opposed to a twisted stitch is because I felt like I was doing it wrong, and so now, like, I prefer just a regular knit, like for ribbing and stuff. But anyway, getting distracted. So this is the Novice Sweater by Petite Knit. It is a size inclusive pattern, although I think when I knit it, it wasn't. But she has then, since then, gone back and I definitely think changed a lot of her patterns. I think if I were to knit this again, I would knit it a little bit shorter. I think that when I was knitting this, I'm pretty sure I was pregnant, and I remember knitting it thinking, gosh, I hope I can wear this after I'm done being pregnant. And I think when I had tried it on and squeezed it on, that I think I had made it longer because I had a belly. And so I think had I not been pregnant when I started knitting this, I probably would have made it a little bit shorter, just naturally realizing that it doesn't need to be so long. But I don't want to change anything about it because I think it's nice just having that memory. I definitely have memories of making this, and I could change some things, but I think if I did, it just wouldn't have that same like first sweater feel. So this, I don't believe, has any short rows or anything like that, and it is very simple. I believe you do all of your like round yoke increases, and then everything is pretty simple. I believe you don't do any decreases in the sleeves. You just knit and then do a rapid decrease and then do ribbing. So that's very simple. This would be an excellent sweater for your first sweater. The instructions are very clear. There is a lot of instruction, so you're not kind of guessing what should be next. It's very, very clear. And I really, really do recommend this as a first sweater. I also feel that with Petite knits patterns, especially the easier ones like the Novice Sweater, the Novice Cardigan, all those ones, they are really easy and they're really wearable. And so I think when I saw it, I was like, oh, I would definitely wear that. And that was part of the push to get me to make a sweater in the first place. So I really, really like it for those reasons. And I think this yarn was just really pretty to work with. I remember it was a little bit trickier, I would say. Just holding 3 strands together while knitting, I think made it just something to keep, like, made me slow down a little bit. But I really think it's super nice. And it has a nice halo, and it is a fairly large gauge. So today is probably about 50 degrees, and I don't know what Celsius, but I can put that on the screen. And it's comfortable. I think much warmer, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but for now it's fine. I'm trying to think of anything else I can say about this other than you should knit one. I really, really like it. And yeah, it's definitely a classic sweater. There's nothing about it that's like trendy. I would say just having straight sleeves doesn't really make it like a trendy piece. The length could have been, again, a little bit shorter. I think would be just on my body a little bit more flattering, but I can also just do the little French tuck, and then we got a shorter sweater. So I think it's fine. And yeah, that was my first attempt at a sweater, and it kind of gave me that bug of like wanting to knit more garments for myself. It's really exciting, especially if you haven't done it yet, to knit something and then be able to wear it around and feel that sense of pride. And so I do try to dust this off on occasion and wear it just because it is special. And you know, I have all those memories of being pregnant and making it, and yeah. So this is my Novice Sweater by Petite Knit using Knitting for Olive yarn. I wanted to share my pattern with you, but I also wanted to talk about how things you see online are not just like they're the end product of maybe a process and not so much the beginning. So what I mean by that was, this is a stack of swatches. And prior to that, this was like my first kind of idea, and I kicked it around over a year. So I knit my first sock, the Cozy Slouchy sock, a year ago. This one is knit with Hazelnut's Artisan Sock, and this is Wandering Flock Cosmic Tie-Dye Mohair. I grabbed a skein of that because it's such a pretty yarn in the skein, and I really wanted you to be able to see like all the different colors. It really is such a cool yarn, and I actually used it for my effervescent pullover, but it's a really fun color, and it's just so like pastel rainbow. The halo on it's really nice, and I just really like it a lot. So I had just a little bit left over. I had some left over from that, so I used that because this was kind of my proof of concept sock. I actually don't even have enough of the sock yarn to make another sock, I don't think. I only have this small ball left. So what I actually think I will do is improvise and do some striping just to have like a second sock. But I was more concerned of like, will this idea in my head make it onto, will it become a pattern, or could it be a pattern? Part of what makes this kind of unique is the kind of faux ribbing. So when you're wearing it, and I'll show you a bunch of different options, but it kind of gives this, like, when you see or think of socks from like, I want to say Saved by the Bell era, or like the late 80s, 90s time period. I don't actually know I don't have a great reference for when it was, but this kind of retro slouched sock look. They had like big cuffs and really kind of an exaggerated rib going on. So that's what I was going for. And this, you will be happy to know, is not as much purling as you would think. And I really was excited once I finished the sock and realized, oh, this will work. What I had in my head can be made into a sock. On this one, I did leave long floats, which you can do, but in the pattern, I suggest not doing that just so that you don't have like an odd thing. You absolutely can, and it probably will also depend on what color you decide to use your stripes in between the mohair sections. So this is a cuff down sock and using a heel flap and gusset heel. And I really think this is a very versatile pattern. So you can do a shorty, and let me grab some of the other one. This is kind of more of a taller sock. This one has 3 pattern repeats. This one has 5. And it is intended, you can pull it up and it will stay up because you're making the cuff a traditional like cuff diameter. So you can pull it up and have it like this, or you can slouch it down on your ankle. And the more pattern repeats you do, obviously the taller the sock, the more of the slouch. So this particular pair was my second sock for sexual pair. This is a Shirley Bryant sock set. It is using the color programmed for etiquette, and it came in a 50 gram and a 20 gram set. It looks like this. I have a second set. I purchased this from one of my kind of local yarn shops, the Naughty Lamb. And this one is called I Still Believe in 398.2. I actually don't know the reference, but they are a 50 gram and a 20 gram set. And the 50 gram has 230 yards and the 20 gram has 90 yards. So I used one of these for this set and it was plenty. So I still have this much left. I think if you made a size large, you might be close. So keep that in mind, but you can always kind of adjust. So I used the 20 gram for the stripes and the cuff, and then I did a little stripe on the toe. And I really like how this turned out. I think that it definitely is really nice and light. So it really is going to depend on the mohair or lace that you use. This lace is very thin. The lace itself for 50 grams is 545 yards, I believe, which is a ton. And so it is a lighter lace. It has a great halo, and I really think that you could do what you want with this. So I would recommend that if you are a tight knitter, that you are going to want to size up a needle size for the leg. Do the cuff with your standard needle and then switch to a larger needle for the leg, and then switch back to your regular needle for the foot. The other thing that you can do is just add extra repeats if you want. It's going to be a little bit different, and of course you're going to have to just keep in mind that with your mohair, although it doesn't use a ton of mohair. So that's just something to keep in mind. So this one has 5 repeats. The Shirley Bryant sock set I think is just so cute. It's like a blush with purple and maroon and yellow and gold speckles. It's just really pretty and fun. And then the mohair is a lavender and indigo mohair, and I just really loved this mohair a lot. It's by Cashmere Treats. I'm not sure if I said that. And this pair just turned out so fun. And I really like how soft and light the mohair is on this one. So the next sock, again, a cozy slouchy sock, I decided to do 6 leg repeats on this one. So it is a little bit taller, and I used Ritual Dyes Maiden base in the color Lithodora and their Fae base in the color New Growth. And this is an example and something I love about socks. This may not be, especially the new growth color, would not be something I would wear like up against my face. I think that it's not the most flattering color, but I sure love bright, fun socks and colors that maybe I really love, but they don't look good on me. It's not cute. So I chose this one just as something fun, and I wanted like a high contrast colorway. The Lithodora is so beautiful. It's like a periwinkle with dark blues and greens and like a chartreuse. And it's just really such a nice complex color. And I think new growth really brings out some of those greens and golds in this colorway. And I will, of course, link all of this below. So this was my third one. And then while I was thinking about it, again, like I just kept adding length to these socks because they just get more and more fun the more kind of poofy your scrunch is, and the more fabric you have is just going to make an even more fun sock. So that is the Lithodora and new growth from Ritual Dyes sock that I made. And now I'm going to switch out. I am currently in the middle of making this pair. I actually started these, finished the leg, and thought, oh, this may not photograph the best, which is not because the colors are not the most beautiful colors, but sometimes when you're trying to take a picture of like a neon, it just can go crazy on you. The camera doesn't love it. So we'll see what we can do with this, probably during post filming. I'm gonna have to like edit this to make it a little bit more clear. But this is a really beautiful color. This main color is from Teal Torch Knits, which is a Portland-based yarn dyer. And it is the color Neon Melon in her sock base. And then this colorway is from La Bien-Aimée, and it is her Kumo, and it is the color Fluoro Morganite. So this one I wanted to try because I wanted to try a Surrey alpaca, and I wanted to see how it was going to work, because Surrey is certainly, I would say, I don't know, loftier, I guess. It definitely produces a little bit thicker fabric. So this one I stuck to pattern. I didn't do any extra repeats, or I'm sorry, I didn't do any extra rows in the Surrey section or the mohair section, but I did do 7 repeats on this one. So we're getting longer. And I really, really like how this one turned out a lot. And it's so cute on, and again, it is one of the most fun colors. If you were to look in my sock drawer and you even look at the commercial socks that I pick, I like to wear all black, all dark colors, all super moody, and neon socks. Like I really, really love neon socks. I don't know why. It is like my own little special secret. I went somewhere to one of my friend's houses and she's like, oh my God, those are bright socks, because it's not expected. You get to wear all the fun colors in socks. So this is my 3rd or 4th color scheme. And what I learned with this one is that I would say the sock itself is a little bit wider in the leg, which is totally fine. And I think that these would make really nice like post-workout socks, or like something to throw on where you're really wanting to warm up. I personally get very cold ankles. I do wear a lot of shorty socks, but I do get very cold ankles, especially like running around my house, or if I have workout pants that are not like super long, my ankles are the part of my body that gets like very chilled. And so having these is just so nice and cozy. I feel like they're like almost like a little self-care sock, like something warm and cozy and sweet and just comfortable to wear. So that is the Fluoro Morganite by La Bien-Aimée with the Teal Torch knits in the colorway Neon Melon. So the next one that I had started, and I haven't finished because this again was another kind of proof of concept moment where I wanted to see what it would look like if you used a like light fingering / lace weight yarn that was an alpaca. So not a suri, not a mohair, but just something a little bit different. So I used Perennial in the color, I think Lemon Lime. And I'm sure this is gonna blow out, but we'll do our best. And I also used Kindred Red, and I think it's like Maldorian, or like this one I don't have a tag for. And again, I just grabbed something so I could quickly see how this would turn out. This one would be, I used the same needle. I didn't like change needles. I stuck to pattern, but this one is definitely bulkier. And I didn't do a very long cuff because again, I was just wanting to see what would happen for the repeats to see if it was going to be something that would work. And I would say it definitely would. So if you do have light fingering or lace yarn that is a little bit I would say look for a drapey for this, but you definitely could go that route and not do a mohair or a suri if you wanted to. And you would still get that like scrunched effect for sure. So you can again knit this pattern in a gazillion different ways, and I really feel that you can switch up what is going to kind of be the most fun to knit. I will say that I knit 4 socks, 4 of these. So I knit this pair, this one, and one of these in the last 2 weeks. So I mean, it is my pattern, so I guess I know like without looking at it what I'm doing, so maybe that probably does make it go fast, but it does go by really quickly, partially because you do have stripes. So anytime for me that I do stripes, I'm like, ooh, finish this section, I can get a stripe in, and that kind of is motivating. The other thing is that these sections are not ribbed. So you're just knitting, and you can definitely zoom through those. So it is certainly a quick pattern to me that goes by really fast. So you can make yourself quite a few, I would say, in a not too long period of time. But I do think that it is a doable pattern. I do think it would make a really nice gift because I think something like this is just such a like cozy, nice, lovely knit, and certainly you can stash bust. I think these would be like absolutely adorable, and this is probably gonna date me, but go with it. Like a rainbow bright colors, like a white sock with like bright rainbow colors throughout, or any color really is your main color, I think would be cute. Changing up the sections of the mohair or suri into different colors would be fun. I really think that this pattern, you can make so many different links and use so many different colors that you really can have tons of different looking socks with the one pattern. So I think that's really nice. I'm excited about it. I love it. And I'm excited that it is now time to share it with everyone. Again, like this was over a year ago that I first wrote this down and first knit the first sock. And it took me that long to feel like I couldn't take it anymore without sharing it. I certainly felt more confident. I would say the support of my knitting friends and the community on this channel has certainly made it so much more comfortable for me to like be more vulnerable and share something that I made. So I want to thank you all, and I want to thank my testers that have tested. Their socks are fantastic, and I will be sharing more of those over the next few days on Instagram. So I'm just so grateful, and I'm really happy that they turned out how they were in my mind. Like sometimes you just have to keep trying things to see like how it's going to turn out. So those are my cozy slouchy socks by me. So go check it out. I will have links to the pattern below. There will be a special discount for YouTube watchers. If you use the discount code YouTube, you will get 15% off. So there you go. Those are my finished cozy slouchy socks, but I'm nowhere near done making them. So I have the next cast-ons ready to go. One that I would like to make that I think would be super cute, and this has been like special yarn that was gifted to me by friends. It is a king fiber sock nest. The colorway is Nest. And I was going to use this with Treehouse Knits Antique Vase and her mohair willow. I think that would just be so, like, such a fun pair. This also has blue, and part of me considered doing like a blue, but I think I want to keep this one kind of similar. So this will be a pair. And then my other pair that I did not knit, but I want to, that I have in stash, would be another Treehouse knit, but her Surrey ash lace. This is her old base. She has a newer one that has a lot more yardage for her Surrey, but this is the colorway Stranger Strings. And then Volan Vine Yarns Footsie base in the colorway Vampmus. And this one is a 80/20 BFL and nylon. And so I think that these would just make a stunning pair of the cozy slouchy socks. Like, if I could have knit these ones as well to show you, I would have, because I was like, oh, I need to make those. Oh, I need to make the other ones. I have so many color combinations or extra Surreys or mohairs that I've made other sweaters and things where I have just a little bit left, and I'm like, what would I ever use that for? This is the perfect project because it really does take less than 25 grams of the Surrey or mohair. You don't need that much. I want to say that this one, I haven't finished measuring the yarn for the other one with the 6 repeats, or no, this one has 6 repeats. This one was about 15 grams of mohair. So it really can be done with, for the pair. So it can be done with very minimal mohair. So I really cannot wait to see your guys' versions. Again, the pattern is out, so make sure to go check it out. Now, what else have I been working on? Besides socks, which I mostly worked on socks, I'm not gonna lie. I did make some progress on some of my other projects, but I had socks on the mind, obviously. So I did make some progress. I have been working on this hat for quite some time. It is a modified, I would say, Stockholm hat, a pattern by Petite Knit. I also have the pattern for the Manhattan hat light and the Manhattan hat regular by Tori Yu, which is a similar pattern. They look very similar, but Tori Yu's pattern does use a larger needle, and she has many more sizes available in her patterns, and they go from like kids to adults. Petite Knit's Stockholm hat only comes in 1, maybe 2 sizes. It might come in 2 sizes, and it is a tighter needle. One thing about hats, I really want them to be dense. I don't want a like loose fabric at all. So I went with the Petite Knit one, and I actually went down a needle size for the brim of the hat, and then I just now went to my like pattern needle for the rest of the hat. I am knitting it with La Bien Aimé's Winsley worsted in the colorway Lush, and I absolutely love this color. I have never seen another green quite like it. It is really special. Like the Lush is such a good word for it. It is so good. It is such a beautiful green. I think that it is, I mean, it is on the cooler side, I would say, of the color wheel, but it is such a fun color. Like I kind of wish I had a whole sweater out of this. But this hat is for my son. So it's the Winsley worsted base, and it is 50% Falkland Corriedale, 25% Falkland Merino, and 25% Wensleydale. It is 250 yards and 230 meters in 100 grams. So also, if you guys hear any noises, my dogs are always in the room with me. They recently got haircuts, so they're a little bit more naked looking, but they're here being cute. So if you hear the noise, that's what you're hearing, if it's something strange. Okay, so I've been working on that hat. I really think now that I'm done with most of the socks except for this pair, I will be kind of focusing on finishing some of these because it is getting warmer here in Portland. And I have this funny feeling that if I don't hurry up and finish this hat, my kid is not going to be able to wear it this year. It might be next year's hat at this point. Okay, so the other thing that I've been working on is the Smock shawl. This is a pattern by Stephen West. I am using my hand spun yarn. So I spun this using Banshee Fiber Arts 100% Rambouillet. She doesn't use colorway names, or I guess they don't use colorway names. So this one, I'll describe what it looks like because I do think I've seen it since I've purchased it, was a gradient from this dark kind of maroon color to the gold. And it went from maroon to like a light pink to a lavender, light blue, sage green, and then a gold. And this has been so much fun to knit. I really think this pattern is really nice for hand spun. You essentially start over here, you do increases, and you have this kind of, this will be like the band that goes up here. You do increases. I'm now to a straight knitting, so you straighten it for a while, and then you do decreases. Then you pick up stitches along this right here, and it's a gazillion stitches. I think it says 1 gazillion. No, it is, I think, over 500. I'm not sure, but I feel like it was such a large number of stitches to pick up that when I saw that, I thought, oh, I wish I would have read the whole pattern before I cast this on. Just joking. I really do want this shawl a lot, so I'll do it, but it is a lot of stitches to pick up once you're done knitting. So you continue to knit this, and then you pick up stitches along this edge, and you do a ribbed stocking stitch along here. And one thing that I really love about Stephen West patterns is his edging. So he has this one, the Smock shawl. Exploration Station has like a beautiful chevron, and he just released a pattern. It was either today or like in the last day or two, called, I think, the Fiber Festival shawl. And it is using kind of similar to this one, I think. Well, no, I lied. It's using 3 colors. This one also uses 3 colors, but I'm only using this, and I'm hopefully about 95% sure I'll have enough yarn for this. In his newest pattern, it is using a brioche stitch, and the edging is like this really pretty, almost kind of brioche chevron situation happening, and it's really, I really like it a lot. So I would say one of my favorite things about his patterns is the whatever he does for that finishing edge, I think is really stunning. So I have been picking this up and working on it here and there. It is really motivating to see all the different colors of how the colors are fading into each other and out of each other is really fun. I really didn't have a great rhyme or reason when spinning this up because it was really my first ever braid that I spun, and I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of in my head knew what I wanted it to look like, but beyond that, I didn't really have a rhyme or reason. So I'm really enjoying how this is turning out. I'm really excited to see it be done. I'm not really looking forward to picking up 9,000 stitches. 1 gazillion. Was it 1 gazillion that I said? So many stitches. It really is a lot of stitches. I cannot remember the amount, but it was a big number, I feel. So I don't know. I'm gonna do it because I really want the shawl. This feels like it's gonna be nice and warm. Rambouillet, I have only ever, I think, knit once, and I used one of Ritual Dyes. I cannot think of the name of the base. It might be Maven. I could be making that up, but it could be Maven. I think their Maven base might be Rambouillet, but it has this like spongy quality. It's like nice and bouncy and soft. And I want to say it's like spongy. That's probably a weird way of describing it, but that's what it kind of makes me think of. And it really is really nice to knit with. And it is soft, and I think it's gonna really make a nice cozy shawl that's nice and light, but still like warm. So I'm excited for that. And that's kind of what I have been working on. So I think coming up, my plans right now are to finish the sock, the other sock for this. And I would like to look at casting on a garment. Not sure which one. I keep looking at my yarn stash when I'm looking over here because that's where it is. And I keep imagining like all these black sweaters that I want to knit, but I'm not sure I'm there yet since I just finished knitting 2 black sweaters. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do there. The other thing that I am looking forward to, and I know I've talked about it a little bit, is I'm doing a practice spin right now just to feel like I feel solidified in my ability to spin something so large, but I would like to spin for the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry. That really is a goal of mine, and I feel like each year I set these like large goals. So 2 years ago, I set a goal of, and it's not always knitting related, so 2 years ago I set a goal of trying to row 1 million meters in a like indoor rowing machine. And so I started in the end of March and I completed 1 million meters in November. So that was like my big goal for the year. And last year, my big goal for the year, I guess, would have been setting up this YouTube channel and committing to podcasting every 2 weeks. That was like the big goal. And I feel like I did well on that. So this year, the big goal was publish a pattern, like just do it. So I feel like I'm a little bit ahead of schedule on my goals for now. I mean, granted, it took me over a year to do it. So it took a while, but I am excited. I have a few more ideas up my sleeves this year that I'm excited to work on. So now that I've kind of ripped off the Band-Aid, I feel excited about that. But I hadn't really thought of that as my goal because I don't set resolutions. I just do like, this is what I think I'm gonna work on. Like this is a self-improvement thing I'm gonna do. So that was this year's goal, and I'm so excited that you guys are here for it with me, and I really appreciate that. So I'm gonna finish this sock, maybe cast on something. It might be for one of my kids because I don't know. Again, I want to knit black things and I don't think I'm quite there yet. It also is so nice in Portland today. It is like 50 degrees and sunny, and it's just the nicest spring day ever, which makes me want to abandon wool and like bust out my linen stash and start making summery, springy garments. I don't know if I'm there yet either. So I'm in like this weird spot right now. So I'm sure by the next podcast, there will be something new coming. I just don't know what it's gonna be yet. Otherwise, I honestly cannot thank you enough for being here and supporting me and being part of this community and being excited about these socks with me, and for my testers who test, like thank you, a million thank yous. I make these podcasts every 2 weeks. If you are not yet my knitting bestie, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. It lets YouTube know that other fiber enthusiasts like yourself enjoy this type of content. Till 2 weeks from now, make some yarn magic. Bye!